On the night of her wedding, the lights in Chief Adewale's mansion burned brighter than the moon, yet behind those lights hid a secret no one was ready for. When the truth came out, the music stopped, and the bride's scream shattered the silence. No one in Oyo village would ever forget what happened that night. The evening sky stretched wide over Oyo village, painted in gold and crimson. From every direction, people hurried toward the grand mansion that stood at the edge of the town, Chief Adewale's estate. Its gates, usually closed to outsiders, were open tonight. And inside, laughter, lanterns, and celebration filled the air. It was the wedding everyone talked about. The richest man in Oyo, known for his power and fortune, was marrying Nia, the young woman whose beauty could silence a room. But the whispers under the music told a different story. She only married him for money. How could a girl like that love a blind man? God is watching. Oh, such things never end well. Yet, none of that mattered to Nia. As she stepped out of her bridal room, wrapped in silk and gold, her reflection in the mirror smiled back at her, proud, confident, and untouched by guilt. She whispered softly to herself, "This is my new life. No one will ever call me poor again." Months before this night, life for Nia had been very different. Her home was a small, cracked hut with a leaking roof. She woke up each morning to fetch water from the river before the sun rose, her feet sinking in cold mud, her hands trembling from hunger. Her mother's cough echoed through the thin walls, and her younger brothers cried for food. Poverty had carved scars into her soul, the kind that don't show on skin but burn deep in the heart. So when she first heard about Chief Adewale, a wealthy man who had gone blind years ago in a car accident, her heart stirred. He was older, powerful, and lonely. His workers said he lived surrounded by gold but slept in silence. That night, Nia stared at the oil lamp by her bed and whispered, "Maybe this is my chance. Maybe my beauty can buy us a future." Her best friend, Lulu, warned her. "You can't play with a man's heart, Nia. Even if he can't see, God can." But Nia only smiled. Over the next weeks, she began to visit Adewale's mansion. First, she came selling fruits by the gate. Then, she offered to read him stories, sing to him, or help his housemaid with errands. Adewale, who had lived in quiet darkness for years, began to look forward to her visits. Her voice became his light. Her laughter filled the halls that once echoed with loneliness. Sometimes she'd guide his hands across the garden paths, saying, "Here, feel the roses, Chief. They're blooming just for you." He'd smile faintly, his sightless eyes soft. "You have a gentle soul, Nia. I can't see your face, but I can feel your kindness." And Nia, clever, graceful, and patient, played her part perfectly. By the third month, Adewale was deeply in love. He called for her every day. He told his servants, "This girl brings light to my blindness. I cannot live without her." Soon, he proposed. The entire village went silent when the news spread. Some said Nia was blessed. Others said she was cursed. But Nia didn't care. All she saw were golden doors opening before her. The wedding day arrived like a dream. The mansion glowed brighter than it ever had. Guests poured in wearing silk, lace, and smiles. The scent of palm wine and roasted meat filled the air. The musicians played love songs while the bride, Nia, walked in gracefully, her white gown shimmering in the lantern glow. Adewale stood beside her, holding his walking cane, his face calm and peaceful. Though he could not see her, he could feel the tremble of her hand in his, the same hand that had reached for him with false love. During the vows, Adewale said softly, "I may live in darkness, Nia, but when I hear your voice, I see the world again." The crowd clapped, women ululated, and men shouted blessings. But Lulu, standing at the far end of the courtyard, could not celebrate. She looked at her friend, and for the first time, she saw fear in Nia's eyes. Because deep down, Nia knew that her lies could not stay hidden forever. And fate, cruel and patient, always waits for its moment to strike. When the celebration ended and the moon climbed higher, the couple entered the grand bedroom filled with candles and soft music. The air smelled of roses and new beginning. Nia stood before the mirror again, running her hand across the expensive necklace around her neck. "I did it," she whispered. "From nothing to everything." Behind her, Adewale entered quietly, guided by his walking stick. "Nia," he said softly, "tonight, I want to tell you something. A truth I've hidden for years." Nia turned slowly, her heart skipping a beat. "What truth?" she asked, her voice trembling. Adewale smiled faintly, the kind of smile that made her skin crawl. "You married a blind man for money," he said. "But what if I told you? I can see everything." The air froze. For the first time that night, Nia's smile cracked. Her hands dropped to her sides, and the room's golden glow suddenly felt too bright, too sharp. What do you mean? She stammered. You said you couldn't see. Adewale turned toward her voice. His eyes, once still and empty, now carried a glint of something she'd never seen before, awareness. He stepped closer, the wooden floor creaking beneath his feet. Yes, Nia, he said quietly, the doctors told me my sight might return one day. But I never told anyone, not even my family, because blindness taught me one thing: when people think you can't see them, you learn who they truly are. Nia's breath caught in her throat. Every lie she had told, every fake smile, every calculated word, all of it now hung in the air like smoke. Chief, she whispered, her voice trembling, you misunderstood. He raised a hand gently, silencing her. No, I understood perfectly. You came into my home like a breeze, innocent and kind. But I saw the hunger in your eyes, I heard the envy when you spoke of wealth. And still, I let you in. Because even a blind man needs to believe in something, even if it's a lie. Nia's lips quivered. The confidence she had worn like perfume began to fade. You're cruel, she hissed. You tested me all along. Adewale sighed deeply, turning toward the window where the moonlight painted his face in silver. No, Nia. I tested myself. I wanted to see if love could be real again. But tonight, as we became husband and wife, I needed to know the truth. Tell me, did you ever love me, even for a moment? The question hung heavy. The candles flickered. Nia looked away, her reflection in the mirror almost unrecognizable. I wanted a better life, she admitted softly. I was tired of hunger. I didn't mean to hurt you, I just wanted to survive. Adewale's expression softened, just for a moment. Then maybe, he said, you and I are not so different. I too once made choices out of pain. But the difference, Nia, is that I never sold my soul for comfort. Outside, thunder rolled across the sky. The celebration had ended, but the night's silence was now filled with tension. Adewale walked toward a wooden chest near the bed and opened it slowly. Inside was a velvet box. He held it up and turned to Nia. Do you know what this is? She shook her head, her pulse quickening. It's the wedding gift I planned to give you, the key to my heart, and to everything I own. But now, he paused, I need to be sure you deserve it. Nia's pride sparked again, covering her fear. You think I married you for gold? You think I care about your riches? He gave a faint smile. Yes, I think you do. Because that's what brought you here. But whether it keeps you here, that's what I'm about to find out. He handed her the box. Open it. Her fingers trembled as she lifted the lid, expecting jewelry, money, something priceless. But inside, was a single silver coin, dull and old. She looked up, confused. What is this? Adewale's voice was calm. That, my dear, is the first coin I ever earned. I started with nothing. That coin built everything you see around you. Tell me, Nia, if I lost all of it tomorrow, would you still stay? The question cut like a blade. She hesitated. You won't lose it, she murmured. You're too powerful for that. He smiled again, but there was pain in that smile. That's what every person around me says. But power fades. Money fades. What doesn't fade is truth. And tonight, I needed to see yours. As the storm outside grew louder, Nia turned away, tears burning her eyes. For the first time, she felt small, like the same barefoot girl who once begged the market sellers for rice. You don't understand, she whispered. I've seen what poverty does to people. It kills love, it kills joy, it kills dreams. I couldn't go back there. Adewale stepped closer, his voice softer now. And you thought marrying me would save you from that? Yes, she snapped. Because I thought you'd never see me for what I truly am. Silence. Then Adewale said something she didn't expect. You're right. I didn't see you. I saw the woman I hoped you were. The words sank deep into her heart. Shame flooded her, burning more than any insult. He turned away, his sightless eyes gazing toward the rain. You can sleep in the guest room tonight, he said quietly. Tomorrow, I'll decide what happens next. Nia's voice broke. Are you sending me away? No, he said without turning. I'm giving you time to choose who you want to be when the sun rises. That night, Nia lay awake in the guest room. Outside, the storm raged, lightning flashed across the windows like angry fire. Every sound, every drop of rain, echoed in her head. She thought about her mother's weak smile, her brother's hungry faces, Lulu's warnings. And now, her husband, the man she thought she'd fooled, had seen straight through her heart. When dawn finally came, Nia rose and walked barefoot across the cold floor. She went to the garden, the same garden where she had once led Adewale by the hand. The roses were wet with rain, their petals trembling. She knelt beside them and whispered, "Maybe love was never blind, maybe I was." Morning light spilled across the mansion, soft but cold. The storm had ended, yet its echo still lingered in the air, like unfinished words between two wounded souls. Nia stood in the courtyard, her white wedding gown now wrinkled and damp from tears and rain. Her mind replayed Adewale's voice from the night before, calm, firm, cutting through her pride. "When people think you can't see them, you learn who they truly are." Those words haunted her. She had thought herself clever, untouchable, a girl who could charm her way into a life of gold. But now, in the silence of dawn, she felt like a thief who'd been caught not by guards, but by truth itself. Adewale appeared at the doorway, dressed in a simple white agbada. His eyes, though dim, seemed to pierce through the air. "You didn't sleep," he said quietly. Nia turned, startled. I couldn't." "Good," he said. "Because neither did I." He stepped into the courtyard, the morning breeze ruffling the edges of his robe. For a man who had once seemed broken, there was now a strange strength in him, calm, almost spiritual. "Nia," he began, "when I lost my sight, I thought my life was over. But in that darkness, I learned to build things others couldn't see. You came into that world, and for a moment, I thought light had returned." Her throat tightened. "I didn't mean to hurt you." He gave a faint smile. "Hurt is sometimes a teacher. Maybe we both needed this lesson." He turned toward the gate. "Come, there's something I want to show you." They walked down the path that led away from the mansion, through winding roads, past fields glistening with dew. Villagers they passed whispered as they saw them together, the rich man and his new wife, the one who married him for money. Nia felt their eyes like thorns on her back. Soon, they arrived at a small, old house by the river, wooden walls, a rusted roof, chickens scratching near the door. "This was my first home," Adewale said softly. "Before wealth, before servants, before blindness. My mother and I lived here. We had nothing but our hands and faith." He walked to the side wall and touched it gently, his fingers tracing the cracks. "I used to wake up before dawn and sell fruit at the market. My mother would pray that one day, my eyes would see something greater than struggle. And they did. But now, I wonder if I've become blind again, not in sight, but in spirit." Nia looked at him, for the first time, really looked. The wrinkles near his eyes, the lines of grief and endurance, the softness of a man who had built everything from dust. A swell of guilt filled her chest. "Why are you showing me this?" she whispered. "Because you should know the truth of what you married," he said. "Not the wealth. Not the mansion. Me." He turned to face her. "If you can't love me here, among the things that made me who I am, then you'll never love me anywhere." For a moment, the world fell silent except for the rush of the river. Nia walked slowly into the little house. The floor creaked under her bare feet. There was an old mat, a cracked jug, and a wooden stool by the window. Sunlight cut through a hole in the roof, painting a thin beam of gold across the floor. And there, beside the mat, she saw something that made her heart ache, a faded drawing of a woman and child, carefully preserved under glass. "Your mother?" she asked softly. Adewale nodded. "She was the one who taught me how to see with my heart. When she died, I promised her that I would never let my soul be blinded by wealth. I thought I was keeping that promise, but maybe I failed." Nia felt her eyes burn. She wanted to speak, but shame sealed her lips. "I don't deserve your forgiveness," she finally said. "I didn't bring you here for forgiveness," he replied. "I brought you here for truth. Do you still want to be my wife? Not the wife of Adewale the rich man, but Adewale the man." Her mouth opened, but no words came out. Her heart warred with her pride. I don't know," she admitted. He nodded. "That's honest. Honesty is a start." They walked back toward the road in silence. The sky had brightened, and the village children ran past laughing, chasing a ragged football. One of them stumbled, and Adewale bent down, helping the boy up with a gentle smile. Nia watched, amazed at how easily kindness flowed from him. It wasn't the kind that demanded to be seen. It was quiet, natural, real. The boy looked up at him, eyes wide. "Uncle Adewale, you can see now." Adewale chuckled softly. "A little, my boy, but not everything yet." The child grinned and ran off, shouting, "He can see. He can see." Nia felt tears welling up again, not from guilt this time, but from something deeper she couldn't name. That night, back at the mansion, she sat by the fire while Adewale rested. She stared at the silver coin he'd given her, the one that started it all. It gleamed faintly in the light, simple yet powerful. She whispered to herself, if I could start again, I'd marry him for that coin, not for the gold. But she didn't know that Adewale, though lying with his eyes closed, had heard her words. His lips curved into the faintest smile. The next morning, Adewale called his driver. We're going on a journey, he said. To a place that might change both our lives. Nia frowned. Where? To the school where I lost my sight. There's something I left behind there, something you need to see. Her heart thudded. Whatever awaited them there, she sensed, would reveal the final truth. About him, about her, and about the strange fate that had bound them together. The road wound through the outskirts of the village, where the earth turned red and dry, and the air shimmered with heat. Dust rose beneath the tires as Adewale's car rolled toward a forgotten part of town. Nia sat silently beside him, hands clenched on her lap. She kept stealing glances at his calm face, the man she once mocked, the man she now feared she was beginning to respect. After an hour of silence, the car stopped before an old, crumbling school. The wooden sign above the gate read, McKean Primary, Knowledge is Light. The words, half faded, struck her heart. This place, she murmured, looking at the cracked walls and overgrown weeds. Yes, Adewale said, his voice quiet. This is where I lost my sight. A shiver ran through her body. He stepped out slowly, his hand brushing the rough wood of the gate. The caretaker, an elderly man with gray hair and tired eyes, came forward and bowed slightly. Master Adewale, it's been years. Good to see you, Baba Kunnal, Adewale replied warmly. Is the hall still standing? Barely, the old man chuckled. But it remembers. They walked across the empty playground where the laughter of children once filled the air. Now only the whisper of wind and the distant hum of cicadas remained. Nia followed behind, her heart heavy, unsure what waited ahead. Inside the old assembly hall, the smell of dust and time filled the air. Sunlight spilled through broken windows, painting gold streaks on the wooden floor. Adewale stopped near the center of the room, his cane tapping lightly. This, he said softly, is where my world went dark. Nia swallowed hard. What happened here? He sighed, a sound so deep it seemed to carry years of pain. I was 12. My mother had worked hard to send me to school, selling fruit, washing clothes. But one afternoon, a fire broke out. The old roof collapsed. I tried to help the younger ones escape. His voice broke slightly. I saved 3 children that day, but a burning beam fell across my face. By the time they pulled me out, my sight was gone forever. Nia's hand flew to her mouth. Oh my God. He smiled faintly. God was kind. He left me alive. But I learned that day that some things are taken from us, so we can learn to see differently. For a long moment, silence filled the hall. Nia looked around, imagining that small boy, eyes bright with dreams, now living in darkness because of one act of bravery. Her heart twisted with guilt. The image of herself laughing at him, calling him blind and lucky, felt like poison in her chest. I don't deserve to be near you, she whispered. Adewale turned toward her, though his eyes didn't meet hers, his presence did. Maybe not, he said softly, but sometimes undeserved mercy is the only way people truly change. He reached into his pocket and pulled out something small and wrapped in cloth. He handed it to her. Open it. She carefully unwrapped it. Inside was a delicate silver pendant shaped like an eye, with tiny carvings along its edges. It belonged to my mother, he said. She used to wear it and say, this eye sees more than sight ever will. When I lost my vision, she gave it to me. She said, one day, give this to the person who helps you see again. Nia froze. Why give it to me? Because, he said quietly, you've made me see the truth of love, both its ugliness and its grace. Without you, I might never have known how much forgiveness can heal. Tears filled her eyes. But I lied, I hurt you. And yet, he interrupted gently, you stayed. You could have run after our wedding night. But you didn't. That means something, Nia. They walked outside, the sunlight falling softly over them. The air smelled of earth and ash. As they passed the schoolyard, a group of children came running, their laughter bright and free. Adewale smiled and bent down as one little girl handed him a flower. For you, uncle, she said shyly. He accepted it with a grateful smile. Thank you, little one. You've given me a reason to keep seeing. Nia watched, her heart full and aching. For the first time in her life, she saw a man not defined by his wealth, his status, or his blindness, but by the depth of his spirit. That evening, they returned to the mansion. Dinner was silent, but peaceful. The flicker of candlelight danced across the table. Nia felt as if her world had shifted, as if all the gold and glamour she once craved had melted away, replaced by something quieter and pure. After dinner, Adewale stood by the window, facing the moonlit garden. "Tomorrow," he said softly, "I'll be leaving for Lagos for a few days. There's a charity foundation I support for children who've lost their sight. I want you to go with me." Nia blinked. "Me? Why?" "Because I want you to see what true wealth looks like," he said. "And maybe, help me give it away." She nodded, tears slipping down her cheeks. "I'll go," she whispered. He turned his head slightly, smiling. "Good. Then maybe, we're both beginning to see." That night, when Adewale had gone to bed, Nia stood on the balcony overlooking the quiet compound. The city lights shimmered in the distance, soft and far away. She held the pendant in her hand, the one shaped like an eye, and whispered into the wind, "I don't know if I deserve love, but I'll earn it. I'll earn him." In that moment, she didn't know that the next day's journey would reveal the biggest twist of all, a truth hidden in the very heart of Adewale's blindness. A truth that would change everything. The following morning, Nia woke before sunrise. The sky above the mansion glowed faintly pink, and the air carried that gentle chill that comes before dawn. She dressed modestly for once, a plain white dress and a shawl over her shoulders. No diamonds. No perfume. Just peace. When she stepped out of her room, Adewale was already waiting by the car, cane in hand, dressed in his usual neat suit. "Good morning," he said with a soft smile. "Morning," she replied. "Are you ready?" "More than ever." They drove toward Lagos in silence, the rhythm of the wheels against the road filling the spaces between them. For the first time, it wasn't an uncomfortable silence, it was calm, understanding. After a few hours, they reached the outskirts of the city. The noise grew louder, the scent of roasted maize and oil filled the air, and the laughter of children echoed in every corner. Their car stopped before a large compound painted in soft blue and white. A sign above the gate read, "The McKean Foundation for the Blind and Orphan." Nia blinked in surprise. "McKean, like your name?" "Yes," he said. "My mother founded this before she died. I've carried it on." Inside, children of all ages played, read, and laughed. Some wore glasses, others had walking sticks. Despite their struggles, their faces shone with joy. As Adewale entered, the children rushed toward him, shouting, "Uncle Adewale! Uncle Adewale!" He laughed warmly, kneeling down as tiny hands touched his face, his arms, his cane. Nia stood frozen, her eyes filled with tears. This man, this blind man she had once mocked, had given light to so many. One little boy tugged at her dress. "Auntie, are you Uncle Adewale's wife?" She smiled softly. "Yes, I am." "Then you're lucky," the boy said. "Because Uncle Adewale says love is the only thing that lets us really see." Her heart broke right there. Later, after the children's lunch, Adewale took Nia to a quiet room filled with framed photographs. Each picture showed smiling faces, children who had regained sight after surgery, teachers, doctors, and donors. In the center of the wall hung a large photo of a woman in traditional attire, eyes bright, smile strong. "That's my mother," Adewale said proudly. "The woman who taught me that blindness is only of the eyes, not the heart." Nia nodded, tears sliding silently down her cheeks. "Adewale," she whispered. "I don't know how to say this, but I don't deserve your kindness. I married you for your wealth. I wanted comfort, not love. But you've given me something I didn't even know I needed, truth." He turned toward her, his blind eyes soft but full of something deeper, wisdom. "And you've given me something too, Nia." "What?" "A reason to forgive the world. You showed me that even broken hearts can learn to see again." Just then, one of the foundation staff walked in, holding a file. "Sir, the doctors from Ghana have arrived." Adewale nodded. "Good. Nia, I think it's time you knew the final truth." She frowned. "What do you mean?" "For the past 2 years," he said slowly, "I've been part of an experimental treatment for restoring sight. I didn't tell anyone until it was ready. Today is the final test." Nia gasped. "You mean, you might see again?" He smiled faintly. "If God wills." The doctors entered, shaking his hand, setting up the equipment. Nia stood in the corner, her heart racing. She couldn't breathe, couldn't think. Minutes passed like hours. The operation was short but tense. And then, silence. Finally, Adewale blinked several times. His lips parted, trembling. He turned his head slowly, and his eyes met hers. For the first time, truly met hers. "Nia," he whispered. "You're even more beautiful than I imagined." Tears poured down her face. She ran into his arms, sobbing. "I don't care about beauty, Adewale. I just want you. The real you." He held her tightly. "Then you already have me." Weeks later, the news of Adewale's miraculous recovery spread through the village. The same people who once whispered that Nia was a gold digger now praised her for standing by her husband. But Nia knew the truth. She hadn't been noble or brave. She had simply been forgiven. And that forgiveness had changed her forever. That evening, as the sun dipped low and the children of the foundation sang under the trees, Adewale stood beside her, holding her hand. "What do you see now, Nia?" he asked softly. She smiled, watching the glowing horizon. "I see that love isn't blind. It's the only thing that truly sees." He smiled, squeezing her hand gently. "Then we've both found our sight." The camera of the heart zooms out, the sound of children laughing, the sunset painting gold over their faces, and the screen fades slowly to black. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to African Heart Tales, and share it with someone who still believes in true love.